Hawks players have talked about holding teams and holding opponents under 100 points to give yourself the best chance to win. Well, we did that tonight.
Yeah, and if you're a numbers person, I was just checking out the stat sheet. 36% from the floor is what the Hawks shot in the first half. We just listened to DeAndre Hunter mention it was a little bit of a slow start, but in the second half, shot nearly 55%. And we saw the ball movement as well. And you talk about a guy who's missed. I mean, Trae Young in Milwaukee didn't play. Tonight, the guy shows up and puts up 38 points, and it was just great to see him on the floor.
Yeah, and he was thriving. And you know what? I think Trae Young plays better when there's fans in there. And it might sound crazy, but he thrives off of that. He feeds off of that. He's interacting with them. He just gave 2 Chainz his jersey at the end of the game. That's the kind of stuff he likes. He had 38 points, 12 for 23 field goals. It's not about how many field goals he shoots, but we need Trae. I see you, Trae. That's the logo, Trae. He wanted us to make sure we know. I shot it from the logo. I see it. But I want Trae to shoot like 20 shots a game. And it's not just about the shots. It's when he's that aggressive, the other team is on their heels. The defense doesn't know what to do. Now he's throwing oops, and now Dre's going off. Clint is going off. Everyone's going off because Trae's getting the shots up. So tonight, love to see it.
Yeah, our forward key player of the game. And, you know, I also think we got to see him throw up the 24. I mean, this performance, you know, the motivation behind it tonight for Kobe. We saw an amazing feature, of course, with he and his connection with Kobe Bryant before the game. And joining us now, Bob and Dominique. It's weird to be on this side, seeing you guys on that
over there?
side.
I missed Kelly's corner.
I missed it too. Well, guys, we just spoke about Trae Young the night he had, but I know Clint Capella, it was good to see him back as well.
Clearly the backbone of this Hawks team. When you've got a guy that can rebound and anchor the back line of that defense like he can, it changes everything defensively for the good for this Atlanta team.
Well, DeAndre Hunter said it best. It gives me the opportunity to gamble a little more on the wings. And believe it, it starts with Clint Capella on the defensive end, man. Teams right now are thinking hard about if they should drive or pull up and shoot the short shots there. He was outstanding on the glass. Once again, 19 rebounds. Cannot stop him on the glass. But again, he's been very active. You see with the left hand, reversing, laying that in, and then able to get to the basket off the baseline pass by DeAndre Hunter. And then Trae always showing him a little love around the basket. They haven't been able to stop him because it's hard to teach size, ladies and gentlemen. Can't teach size, especially size who's willing to move without the ball and go get it. He's not an area rebounder. He's a guy that goes and gets it, stays active.
And, Nick, you mentioned during the broadcast how the Hawks are enjoying Capella like we
got the Clippers on our air, riding a 7-game win streak into Atlanta, and a little later on, the Utah Jazz will try to extend the league's longest win streak, which currently stands at 8, as the New York Knicks wrap up a 4-game trip out west in Salt Lake City. Jazz have been winning those 8 games by an average of 16 points per and killing it from the three-point line right now. First in the league in three-pointers made per game, second in percentage to the Clippers, third in made three-pointers as well. They've just been ridiculously efficient during this streak, averaging 19 threes per game over the 8 straight wins. Candace, what stands out to you about what the Jazz are doing, particularly on the offensive end of the floor right now?
Well, for me, the big difference is Donovan Mitchell. I think everybody was questioning how Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert would come into the season this year. Obviously, both of them signing deals in the offseason. And I do believe a lot of it has been Donovan Mitchell. We've never questioned his ability to attack the paint and get his own shot. But this year, averaging 5 assists per game. And, you know, a lot of people don't understand the correlation between the three-point line and attacking the paint. If you're able to have a guy like Donovan Mitchell on your team and you're able to collapse the defense, then that definitely opens up outside looks. And when you have a willing and able passer, as Donovan Mitchell has been this year, it makes it easier for attacking the paint and it makes it easier for catch and shoot. So honestly, on this streak, that's what I've noticed. When Donovan Mitchell is taking efficient shots, that's when this team is at their best. And so far, he's done that.
They beat Golden State on Saturday night and had 20 made threes on 50 attempts. 5 different players hit 3 or more, and Mitchell had 23 points. Mike Conley's been much better second year around with Utah, at least at the start of the season. Obviously, after spending all those years in Memphis, there was a transition to make. It didn't go great early on in his first season. Looks like a different guy so far.
Yes, he looks like a different guy. I think there is a bit of an adjustment playing with a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who is going to have the ball in his hands a lot. Mike Conley has had the ball throughout his career in Memphis. That pick and roll that we got to know and love with him and Gasol, he always had the ball. And so to learn how to play without the ball is an adjustment for a lot of point guards in this league. And he's done so this year. They're using him in different spots. I like that at times, they're not necessarily just playing him alongside Donovan Mitchell, which is allowing him to get more touches. But at the same time, he's able to knock down the three this year comfortably. He's also creating, and just the system and at which they're moving the ball. I wish the NBA would start keeping hockey assists, because this Utah Jazz team would have a lot of them.
I think you have to talk to the NHL about that, actually, because it's, a hockey assist at all.
It's true.
Yeah. But Bojan Bogdanovic has made a huge difference as well. Remember, he had the wrist surgery. He was out of the bubble last season during the playoffs for the Utah Jazz. But they are an offensive force right now. And off the bench, Jordan Clarkson, who they acquired last season and re-signed in the offseason, is averaging nearly 18 a game right now. And he's got to be in the running early on for Sixth Man of the Year.
Jordan Clarkson was one of my favorite players when he was with the Lakers to watch, and just his huge amount of upside. That trade that they made with Cleveland last year really has worked out for them. He's the only person on the Utah Jazz that everyone doesn't want him to pass when he gets the ball. I think when he steps in the gym, it's a great shot, and he's playing with confidence, and he's able to have that punch. I think a lot of players, they want to start. They think starting is the key, but he's finishing almost every game. And so it's not how you start.
Yeah.
On to you, Grant. You're
That's
watching
right.
Duke.
That's right. Should be resolved any moment now. But those lessons could apply to this game as well, because Trae had a fairly quiet first half. The Hawks as a team began just 1 of 7 from three-point range. I'm impressed by his game management and the improvement on that, and in just as much as the 30-foot three-pointers that occasionally drop.
I'm very impressed with his jump from last year to this year. I know that the talent has changed around him this year, and the expectations have changed as well. When you're entering into your third season, it's no longer okay to just put up gaudy numbers and take an L. Now the expectation is to win. And with that comes learning to manage games. With that comes being more confident in your decision-making with the ball. And you're seeing Trae, obviously, when he walks into the gym, he's in range, and teams know that. And defenses are going to scheme against that. In the first half, the game of basketball is about adjustments. The first half, they were making things difficult for Trae. You go in at halftime, you look at the way that they're playing you, and you come out and you make the adjustment. And that's what Atlanta did, and that's what Trae did. And they're going to continue to have have that this season in order to continue on that path of trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah, if you're just with us, the Clippers were basically taking away the three from Trae Young in the first half. He didn't even attempt one until just over 2 minutes left in that first half, wound up hitting 3 of 7. You also have to have teammates who can make shots when you're double teamed, and that happened late in the game. They double teamed Trae, took it out of his hands. It swung a couple of times to Kevin Huerter, who hit a 3 and made it an 8-point game.
Yes, it is about making that extra pass. And as you get older and more mature in the game, a lot of the offense, and it still rests on Trae's shoulders, but it also, when you sometimes get your teammates going, then the defense has to collapse and relax and respect them as well, and it makes it easier for you. And to see Huerter, we know he's an amazing shooter. To knock down that 3, I think it was able to kind of open things up for Atlanta. And especially, you're hitting the 3 ball, you're able to get to the paint better, kind of like what affects what, defense or offense? It's the same thing. When you drive the ball, you're going to get better 3-point looks. When you knock it down from outside, you're going to get better shots at the basket.
730-point game of the season for Trae Young. They're 5-2 in those games. Hawks did a lot of good things. I know Kawhi Leonard and Paul George weren't on the floor for the Clippers tonight, so you take advantage of the schedule in front of you. But the Hawks did a number of good things in terms of game management, in terms of eventually hitting shots, because it was a slow start for both teams offensively, and on the defensive end, where they are much improved, vastly improved over last season, including 9 blocks.
Well, a lot of people don't take the stat of 19 rebounds for Clint Capella as defense. And to me, in order to close out a possession, you have to get the defensive board. And so his defensive rebounding and honestly his activity, whether it's blocking shots, whether it's altering shots, whether it's coming up with the rebound, Clint Capella is really impacting the Hawks on that end of the floor. And thus, it's impacting it on the offensive end because they're able to get out in transition and they're rewarding the big man. And with that, it is fun to play with a guy like Trae Young that is able to find you on the offensive end. So, yes, the Hawks are doing an outstanding job. Obviously, you can only play the people that are in front of you. Paul George and Kawhi did not play, but the Hawks did not let that affect their level of play. And in fact, they rose their level of play to play against streaking, I would say, Clippers team.
Clint Capella, by the way, the first Hawk with 5 straight games of 15 rebounds.